Almost a year ago, Chermobile graced us with the first Flare XL, the biggest Flare device ever. For only 4,999 pesos, that monster of a device delivered a 5.5-inch display, an octa-core processor, and a pretty baller set of cameras. It was then the definition of a budget phablet that reigned the local market. And now, Chermobile is back at it again with the Flare XL 2.0, a device that is full of six. We now have a 6-inch display, the latest Android 6.0 Marshmallow, a 16-megapixel primary camera, and even a 64-bit processor, all for an asking price of only 5,999 pesos. So, will the Flare XL 2.0 appeal the phablet fans? Let's figure that out. Chermobile has been sticking with the same design language in their recent Android devices. The Flare S4 Plus and the Flare Selfie, which we have reviewed before, both had a well-dressed metal sides and a subtle plastic back. That combination was a good route, which made the device gain a premium title without breaking the bank. And of course, we are seeing the same combo on the XL 2.0. The metal sides has a subtle chamfered edges. The back is also made from plastic, but with a weird rubbery texture, which I really like as it gives extra grip when holding the device. However, I noticed that the back panel is prone to dirt marks and smudges. The device is also incredibly thin, but it actually really not that impossible to achieve. Chermobile was able to literally stretch everything thanks to its tall dimension. Conversely, despite its thinness, the Flare XL 2.0 is heavily built. It doesn't weigh a ton, but the heft is pretty noticeable. Plus, with its large 6-inch display, holding this for hours or carrying it around is really tiring. It would literally have a big bulge in your pocket. But nonetheless, phablets are really not for users whose top priority on a smartphone is its portability. These are for people whose main concern is usability and function. Speaking of the display, we have a 6-inch HD IPS display, which has a 720 by 1280 resolution and has 245 pixels per inch. 720p panel is now a standard to budget smartphones, and that is pretty much okay, but having it on a large 6-inch display is pretty annoying. Sharpness is really disappointing on this thing. A 720p resolution is forgivable to only at least 5.5-inch and below, but on a larger screen like this, it is quite uneasy to use. Individual pixels are now more visible, which makes everything less detailed. But on a brighter note, the display quality is good overall. Colors are saturated enough, although the screen is slightly on the yellowish side. Blacks are deep enough, which delivers good contrast. Screen brightness is also fine, which makes outdoor visibility easy. Viewing angles, on the other hand, is pretty much okay, as the screen looks like it has been well laminated with the display, but I did notice some color shifting when I tried to look at it at different angles. Chermobile towed in a MediaTek MT6753 chipset inside, which has a 1.3 GHz octa-core processor, backed by 2 GB of RAM and a Mali T720 GPU. Processing performance have been satisfying. Games like UFC run impressively. 3D Mark shows okay results. Applications are not 6 FPS fluid, but decently playable at 30 frames per second. It also handled a processor-hungry game called Roller Coaster Tycoon very well. However, quite expectedly, the device tends to heat up during heavy workloads. Just 2 to 3 minutes of gaming will have the chipset already throttled. The RAM is also showing off on this thing. It is well utilized, which makes it comparable to those smartphones that has 2 GB of RAM. You can switch between different apps without breaking a sweat. Also, another bragging right that the Flare XL 2.0 has is its software. This thing has the latest version that Android offers. This ginormous device is one of the first few devices to house Android 6.0 Marshmallow out of the box. The 6.0 Marshmallow looks aesthetically the same with its predecessor, the Android Lollipop. The icons, fonts, and overall look of everything have been carried on. Rather than wasting time and effort on redesigning, Android focused on improving what already works and added features that would make everything even better. Now on top is one of the few new best feature of Marshmallow. It lets you use Google Now from anywhere on your phone. It then analyzes every word projected on the screen, then suggests actions and or a Google search. The device also has a motion sensor, which can detect if you hover your palm above the display. It works like the air shuffle that we saw on Opus devices, although I did leave it off as it is really annoying as hell. The Flare XL 2.0 comes with a 16-megapixel primary camera and an 8-megapixel module for the front-facing one. The cameras garnered the same results with the Cubix Cube 3 on my tests. The large figure in megapixel count doesn't always translate to good photo quality. Details are a bit sharp, which is really expected, but that's not the only thing that is important. Colors appear to be dull, dynamic range is just average, and depth of field is barely present. Pictures also gets easily blurred when shooting handheld. It is forgivable the lack of optical image stabilizer, but it still would have been fixed with a fast shutter speed. Pictures taken on low-light scenarios are acceptable, with visible subjects but with tons of noise and grains. 1080p video recording is also possible, with the quality same as the stills. Share Mobile was able to cover all of the essentials on the connectivity department. The XL 2.0 has a Wi-Fi, ABG and AC, and Bluetooth 4.0, which were both reliable during my tests. It is also capable of receiving 4G LTE signals. I've tested it using Smart's 4G LTE prepaid, and it did have ultra-fast connection, but the speed varies on location. Now we go to the things that I did not like on this device. First, we have the garbage set of loudspeakers. The volume is lacking and the sound quality is distorted as hell. Also, we only have one slot for a micro SIM card and a micro SD card, which can only hold either of the two at a time. We have seen this implementation before on other Flare devices, but those devices had two slots, so you can either have two SIMs running or do a one SIM and micro SD combo. And lastly, we have a non-removable 2500 mAh battery. Phablets are made for power users whom don't appreciate a hot swappable battery, as their activities demands them to replenish batteries easily. But nonetheless, battery performance have been pretty much okay. Screen on time reached our standard 4-hour mark, but that result ain't absolute. Brief gaming would instantly drain a noticeable amount of battery. It also eats a plenty amount of juice during standby. But basically, that's just all about its cons. These complaints are just a speck of dust to what the Flare XL 2.0 can actually offer for the money. I did love the enormous display, despite of it being bulky, the premium feeling and sturdy design, which made possible by its metal sides. The powerful octa-core processor and Android 6.0 Marshmallow combo also made day-to-day usage a breeze. And lastly, having a 4G LTE connection is a huge support to today's busy and well-connected life. If lugging a huge device is not an issue, and media consumption is a top priority, the Share Mobile Flare XL 2.0 is worth checking out, and it sure won't break the bank. This has been my PX review of the Cherry Mobile Flare XL 2.0. For a more detailed look about this device, make sure to check out our full written review link below. You can also hit the thumbs up button and share this video if you liked it, and also subscribe if you still haven't. Thank you for watching.